notice I have two knives here. Okay, one is an electric fillet knife. It's battery operated. These are the newest rage. They run on these lithium-ion batteries, and they are the real deal. I've cleaned 30, 40 walleyes on one charge. Nice thing, there's no cord. Remember last year I came in and I was working over here, and I got this cord around, and it's just kind of cumbersome. If you're out on a fishing trip to Canada, you don't have power. Real handy to have one of these. Bring a spare battery. It's all you're going to need for a whole week. Okay, so first thing I got to decide is what angle to try to clean this fish on. I can start from the tail or the head. Okay, the way I want to do this is each fish has a side to it, obviously. Okay, and I want to be able to get all the meat off the side, and there's lots of different ways to do this. People do it different ways. This is the way I've done it for years, and I was self-taught by my father. So I put the back of the fish toward me, head forward for the first cut. I get right behind the gill plate, just let the knife do the work. This is probably the hardest step right here, is knowing when to stop. What happens if I go too far? Yeah, I'll cut the head right off, and I got a mess. I got to start, kind of scrambling just to get any meat off. So it's kind of an intuitive thing, but I stop right there, and if you look, like, oh, look at that, he got lucky. Well, not really. You do it enough, and you'll know where to stop, which is basically right where that top fin is, because that's where the dividing line is for the side. Okay, and then you turn your knife and just kind of let the knife go right down the back of the fish, nice and slow. Okay, you get to the end of the tail. You can cut it off, but it's quicker to do that. And then you're just going to cut the fillet off. All right, and there's the fillet. Now we're not done with it. We have to get there's still some bones in there. Okay, so now the other side's a little more difficult. Everybody know why? And now you're filleting half a fish, so there's not as much room there. There's more margin for error. Same thing though. I'm going to cut down halfway, stop, turn my knife. Like I said, I think this is the hardest part, is going halfway, turn your knife. Once you do that properly, and you're going along the backbone, then you're kind of home free. It just kind of goes along, and you just sort of ride the backbone. Okay, same thing, flip it over, go to the tail, and just take the rest of the blade off the skin. Okay, there's two. And then this, if you did it correctly, this is what it looks like. You can see there's really not much wasted meat there. Here's the backbone. Okay, you can see all the way down it. There's very little meat on there. And I didn't cut through it. So I've avoided all those bones. Who's my bag holder? We can take turns at such an exciting. All right. Oh, you can see what he's eating for bait, or eating for lunch, or what I was using for bait. Where do you think that came from? That's a fathead minnow, by the way. One that's been thoroughly eaten. Okay, so that's step one. What I do is all these with that, okay? And then step two would be, after all these are done, or I've got 6 or 7 there, if you're doing 40 of these, what I'll do is I'll do all of this first and just make a pile. That way you're not switching between knives. Okay, so we're not done yet, obviously. Here's the belly. Okay, you can see it. You want to get it out. Now some people will actually take the tip of their knives. You want to use a good sharp fillet knife. Notice how it's a real thin blade. You kind of ride the underside. Some people will try to get a little piece of meat off of that. On a bigger fish, it might be worth it. I don't bother. I don't even bother on a bigger fish because this is an area that contains fat. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll cut this right out. I'll try to get the knife as close to it as I can, follow it. Okay, so this is what's left of a fillet at that point. Now here's the lateral line. This is what I was telling you about. You notice it's not very red. It's a small fish. It probably doesn't even need to be removed. But if it was a bigger fish, if I had a salmon right here, you know what they look like. I mean, it's big and it's red, and there's usually 2 of them. Well, that's all fat, and it can be this thick, and you don't want to eat it. So on this fish, this is overkill. I'll admit this probably wouldn't hurt the fish, but you notice I make a V cut and just get underneath. You see it's so small, it just kind of pulls right out. There's really nothing there. On a bigger fish, you make that V cut and you'll pull out a piece. It could be this long. It's nasty. So there's a fillet all ready to eat, and you bread this, dip it in whatever you like. Some people pan sear it with a little orange flavoring or whatever. Other people deep fry it. Other people pan fry it. Some people, you can do anything.